Thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show, John Culberson. What's the next step here to cut off funding to Boston and all the other sanctuary cities?
Well, Howie, it's great to be with you, and I'm pleased to report that we are on track and on target. And the judge's order actually specifically confirms what I did last summer in cutting off federal law enforcement grants to these sanctuary cities. The judge said that is absolutely within Congress's power, and this order, and I'll quote directly. Now, this guy is appointed by Barack Obama,
right?
District judge in San Francisco, no less. And the judge, I'm quoting from the judge's order, he says, quote, "This injunction does not impact the government's ability to use lawful means to enforce existing conditions of federal grants or Title 8 U.S. Code 1373, close quote. And that's the law that I enforced that says 1373 is the key here, Howie. That federal law says local, state law enforcement agencies cannot interfere, quote, in any way, close quote, with sharing information about illegal aliens in their custody. So this judge, appointed by Barack Obama, said what Culberson did last summer, what Attorney General Sessions is doing to cut off federal law enforcement money to the sanctuary cities, absolutely valid. So we are on track, on target, on schedule, Howie, to cut off New York City's law enforcement grant money, Philadelphia, Connecticut, the entire state of California. This judge's order confirms what we've done. It was right, and we're right on target.
Well, so why did he issue this temporary restraining order or this preliminary injunction, whatever it is, to stop the cutoffs if Sessions is just following the directives of the legislative branch?
Yeah, exactly. What happened, I think, in the executive order, as I look at it, was attempting to cut off all sorts of grant money. Probably was it housing, for example? Everything. The executive order attempted to cut off all federal grant money to these sanctuary cities. And what the judge saying in his order is the grant money that you're attempting to cut off has to have some reasonable relationship to the law that you're attempting to enforce. In this case, 1373 says local law enforcement has to share all the information they've got about criminal aliens in their custody. It's a public safety law. 1373 is designed to protect public safety. So I did my research on this when I did this last summer, and I found I'm the chief financial officer for the Department of Justice. I'm the CFO for the DOJ. So, which is just, I discovered if you control 100% of a bureaucrat's money, Howie, you've got 100% of their attention every time, without fail.
CFO
so
DOJ. That's a lot. I like that title. Yes, go ahead.
The CFO of the DOJ. And I'll tell you, my favorite title is the one of your listeners gave me, Congressman Airhose. That's one of my favorites. And because that's how I did this. I stood on the DOJ's air hose and blocked their money internally until they enforced 1373 and made these local sanctuary jurisdictions cough up and share information about illegal aliens in their jails or prisons. Otherwise, all your law enforcement grant money is gone. So I'm enforcing a federal law enforcement law by cutting off law enforcement grants. So, housing, for example, it's more difficult, to cut off a housing grant or a transportation grant based on a violation of a federal law enforcement statute. You see what I mean? Like seat belts or a speed limit. States cannot expect to get highway money if you don't adopt the federal speed limit or if you don't have a seatbelt law. That seatbelt money,
right.
The highway money can be tied to a seatbelt law or a speed limit law. You see what I mean? There's some relationship there.
But I'm guessing, Congressman Culberson, that this judge, again, he's a bundler for Obama and a big Democratic campaign contributor. I'm guessing that he would have ruled the other way had a conservative, family-oriented group gone in and said Obama had no right to cut off federal monies to states like North Carolina based on their transgender bathroom policies, right?
Yeah, it's hard to know. I don't know this guy, but I understand. I've read that history you just cited, and let me tell you, like I said, I did my homework on this, and I knew that I was on solid ground. I've already met with Attorney General Sessions now several times, briefed him and his team on this. So as soon as he was sworn in, I made sure that he knew that he could pull the trigger and cut off this law enforcement grant money. in 2017 to every one of these sanctuary jurisdictions, and we can do that. The court, this judge explicitly says the Attorney General can go right ahead and cut off this law enforcement money to these sanctuary jurisdictions.
So what you're saying is that the judge is basically saying that you can't do it unless you can't cut off housing money, say, or traffic money or something like that. But you can cut off because of the actions you took last summer when Loretta Lynch was the Attorney General. They can continue to cut off. They can continue with their foot on the air hose of the law enforcement grants to all these sanctuary quote-unquote communities.
That's exactly right. We can stand on the air hose of the money going to San Francisco, California. We are standing on the air hose of every one of these sanctuary cities. If you want federal money, follow federal law. And because what we're enforcing is a federal law designed to protect public safety, therefore we can cut off federal law enforcement grant money to these sanctuary cities that are in violation of this federal law designed to protect public safety.
So what is
a relationship between the grant money and the federal law we're enforcing, so therefore I can stand on their air hose. And, Mayor de Blasio, you want federal law enforcement money? Guess what? You're going to have to hand over every criminal alien in your jail, or you might as well just kiss all your money goodbye. And by the way, you're going to owe us a refund. If you don't change your sanctuary policy, Mayor de Blasio, Governor Moonbeam, you get to write us a check. You get to write U.S. taxpayers a refund check for every dollar of law enforcement federal grant money you have ever received. That means California will owe us, Howie, you and me, over $1.8 billion.
Don't forget Mayor Walsh and Pierre in Boston. Don't forget Mayor Strimling in Portland,
they're
Maine.
On my list.
They're all there. There's hundreds of them, I believe. Hundreds.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Howie, any of your listeners, I would ask any of your listeners if they can find a written policy, and I would ask any of your listeners that want to help me with this, find a written policy that your city, county, state has that says we will not share information about criminal illegal aliens in our custody with the feds. You send that to my office, and I'll stand on their air hose and cut off their federal law enforcement money pronto.
Well, since you started this campaign last summer, though, a lot of them have backed off any written policies. They're just saying, it's just a general statement of our policies towards the undocumented, or et cetera. You know what I mean? They don't want to put it in writing anymore because they know it's a smoking gun for you and the Republicans in Congress.
If it's in writing, I can get them. Hey, Santa Clara. This lawsuit, by the way, Howie, was filed by Santa Clara and San Francisco. And the judge's order on page 7 says Santa Clara decided not to even apply for federal law enforcement grants this year because they knew what was fixing to happen to them. Not only would they not get the money, Howie, but the way I set it up with the Department of Justice last summer, I had the Department of Justice set it up so when you submit the grant application, it's a sworn application. And if you lie under oath on that application, it's a violation of the Federal False Claims Act. It's 5 years in prison.
So what are the other chairmen? What are the other chairmen, like the chairman who controls the housing money, the federal housing funds? What does he have to do? And does he have to get it approved by Ryan or Mitch McConnell in the Senate? What do they have to do to cut off the other air hoses for these communities?
They can do what I'm doing. Each one of us, each subcommittee chairman is the CFO of the federal agencies under our subcommittee. So I'm showing the other subcommittee chairman what I did.
Good.
I'm the first one to figure this out because I'm so upset. These sanctuary cities, when that young woman was murdered in San Francisco, it's just unbearable. I said I got to figure this out. So I just basically hit the law books, and I spent months figuring this out. It was like playing chess, and it took me months, but I finally locked them down. When you're standing under air hose, they like to breathe. It works. And,
everybody's texting in, Congressman, and they're saying we love the air hose guy. We love the air hose guy. No, it's working great. And thank you. Thanks for your work on this. And we'll be talking to you again as these nutty decisions come in from San Francisco and the West Coast.
Well, it's good. Listen, great to be with you, Howie. I count you as an honorary constituent and an honorary Texan. I'm proud to represent you vicariously all the way from Houston, buddy.
Thank you, Congressman Culberson. Down in Florida, I live next door to some of your constituents in my condo building, but I'm not really from Houston. I've been to the airport a couple of times. Thanks for being with us. That's Congressman John Culberson from Texas, and he's stepping on the air hose of the sanctuary cities, even after this decision yesterday in San Francisco. I'm Howie Carr.